it's not in my DNA.
Yeah.
It just proves you how wise of a person she is.
Even though she thinks it's not in her DNA, I still think that she could do the job. I think
she could do it as well.
I think she'd prepare for the job. And when you look at Barack Obama, he didn't have a lot of history when it came to politics, and he did a lot of learning on the job, didn't he? Jimmy Carter, on the other hand, had a great history in Georgia and had a hard time getting a second term. In fact, he didn't get a second term. And when you look at Ronald Reagan, it was a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and chances are, towards the end of the presidency, Ronald Reagan wasn't so coherent. And a lot of people wonder about his mental stability, and we all know in which the way that President Reagan passed, but yet he's still beloved. I wonder if he'd still be beloved today when you look at Facebook and Twitter, and it's not a 9 to 5 job to a lot of Americans and people around the world anymore. I think she's one of the most prepared interviewers ever. Her skill set is amazing. She's a great listener. She pulls things out of people. I think that's what you have to do when you're the president of the United States. I think you can learn some policy along the way and surround yourself with people that understand policy.
You wish she would run.
I do wish that. Yeah, I do wish that she would run, because I think that she's thoughtful. I think she's smart, and I also think that I think it may cause other people to enter the arena. I think it'd be really interesting to have her enter the arena. On the other hand, then I wouldn't have Oprah's Super Soul Conversations, which
she could probably still do Super Soul.
She probably would, because she does Super Soul Sunday. She does all kinds of Super Soul stuff. She does Super Soul Cycle.
I wish that she would do the State of the Union speech going up next week. I would rather hear her give the State of the Union.
Yeah.
We would be carrying that live on the Run and Don.
Man, if Sonny Bono can be... You look at Sonny Bono, and people made fun of him. He created the character Cher. He created Sonny and Cher. And when he first went into politics in California, he didn't know what he was doing. But they say that he was so naturally curious, like she is, that he became one of the best. And I believe that he was a senator.
He revamped the Millennial Copyright Act.
Yeah. Say that he was...
that going deep into the archive.
Yeah, and it took him a while, and then he went skiing. So I'm staying on the bunny slopes on Saturday with my son, and you can go up with Joe and go.
Oh, you're going all the way to the top, pal. You've been talking a big game.
All right, find out. I haven't actually been talking a big game. I told you that I was on the bunny slope, and I jump on my snowboard, and then it'll move.
No, you've been trying to set me up by saying you're telling everyone else about
great I am. You've been telling me how great you are.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you said you want to race Joe. He's ready to race.
Oh, see, here you go.
Now we're racing?
Yeah, it's a race. It's a Saturday race.
What did I tell you yesterday before you left work? Don't break Ron.
I'm telling your therapist that you're back. Old Don is raising his head up again out of the weeds.
Yeah. It's the Ron and Don Show on Kyle Radio. We'll check traffic next, and there's a lot to check.
Because I posted something about, someone asked me about the Clinton economy, and we got into this discussion, and I said something, eventually we got to Barack Obama sending pallets of cash over to Iran illegally. And I mentioned the ransom payment. And this person, who no doubt is an utter genius, wrote back to me and said, ransom payment? Ransom for what? Where'd you read that? Fox News or InfoWars? And I mean, he didn't laugh that way, but well, maybe he did. I think he did, but of course it was Twitter, so I don't know, but that's how I saw his response. So I sent back a link from the Politico, and then from NBC News, and then from NPR, and then a YouTube video of a State Department spokesman admitting that the payment was ransom. And the person went dark because he's at home. He goes, "No." My point, Mark Zuckerberg. The readers of the New York Times trust it. Non-readers of the New York Times who are liberal trust it because they have been taught to trust it. It's that branding thing we talked about. Readers of the New York Times will not know the fact easily obtainable fact that Barack Obama had to twice recertify that it is illegal to send Iran cash. Also illegal to try to circumvent that law. Twice. It was illegal. Further, today's readers of the New York Times on today's topics do not know that Barack Obama allowed Hezbollah to ship cocaine into America. They don't know that because the Times has chosen to not report that. So you get a guy like this person on social media who is trolling me. That person thinks he knows. And he would read something from, let's say, an independent news source. Let's say Independent Journal Review, IJR. It's a very good, very solid, conservative publication that's been hand-built by a guy who used to run digital for the Republican Governors Association, Alex. Alex built it. It's a beautiful site. It's brilliantly done. If that person I was on social media with saw a headline that said Barack Obama allowed Hezbollah to ship cocaine into the country, that person would say, nope, never happened, because I never saw that in the Times. Here's how the quiz helps. Mark, there are some ascertainable facts. Start with this. Who's the President of the United States? I'm not kidding. Who's the Vice President? Who is the UN Secretary? Who's the Ag Secretary? Start with the basics. How many people within a, let's say, a 10% a 10% range of air, up or down? How many people live in America? On what rhythm are the following representatives elected? House, Senate, presidents. 2, 4, right? See what I'm saying? 6 years. Ask basic questions of ascertainable facts. What is the U.S. debt, plus or minus 10%? Ask basic questions. What percentage, what is the average income in America? Ask basic questions. You're a tech guy, Mark. Make it impossible for them to Google it from the same device. Set up a timer on it. If they have another browser window open, it shuts down. I guess they could use their phone. But what we're trying to do here, Mark, and it goes for journalists too, is to try to get to some baseline of information. Because you know what? If you don't know the basics, then you can be fooled in every possible way. Like this guy in social media. It happens to journalists all the time. They think they know America. They're stunned to find out that there are people who do not think things are hunky-dory in D.C. Do not trust the political class. Do not trust the professional class. They're stunned when they learn about their own spin. I've done it. I've sat with some great journalists and showed them how their publications spin things, and I've watched them be embarrassed and aghast. From that then, Mark, turn it back on people and say, you're not informed. You are not developing trusted opinions because you are not informed about the topic matter. Put it on personal responsibility. Give them then some tools on how to research facts. Where do I find the national debt? Where do I research the presidents and the cabinet members? Known ascertainable facts. Get people used to researching. But your plan here is, it's surprising that you either don't care that this won't work, or you're a savant. Because you're not stupid. You're a brilliant man. 770 KTTH, and I've given a lot of thought to this next segment. And it has to do with this rapist, child rapist, Larry Nassar. There are levels of evil and at play in this, but you know what's more disturbing is the mixed messages that this society is sending young girls. We are sending mixed messages, and yeah, it's become very clear if you've been watching this Larry Nassar trial and the horrific rapes of these little girls. We'll get to that. We come back on the Todd Herman Show on AM 770 KTTH. Right now, we'll check traffic with Right Way Traffic.
Pretty messy right now all around downtown Seattle with the usual backups. I-5 northbound filling in. You're going to be sluggish at best and stop and go in some points from Northgate all the way up to Highway 96. I-405 heading southbound through Bellevue. That continues to be very clogged up between 520 and 90 especially. It'll remain sluggish.
That out. Story number 3 brings us to a feature from Rachel Bell. And I guess I didn't realize this. Ken Jennings, who was on Jeopardy a long time, would come in and has been on the show before as a fill-in host, which I didn't realize. And he also is the new subject of Rachel Bell's Your Last Meal. And so she gives us this preview.
It's been 14 years since Seattle's Ken Jennings became a record-breaking Jeopardy champ, winning 74 consecutive games and more than $3 million. But he's kept that Jeopardy fame alive, appearing on tons of talk and quiz shows, writing 12 books, and he now has a new podcast with Seattle rocker John Roderick called Omnibus. But I wanted to know where his knack for trivia began.
Trivia kids are born and not made. Like, you just know if you had that kind of kid that's always dragging the Guinness Book of World Records around and annoying mom and dad with facts about polar bears or whatever. And I was very much that kid. We lived overseas. Our only contact to U.S. culture was like Army TV and radio, because there's like a bajillion U.S. servicemen in Korea. As a result, me and all my friends were obsessed with Jeopardy, because every day after school at 4, that's what the Army put on TV. We would run home from school and there was only one thing to watch. We all watched Jeopardy, and we were just like an obsessive fan club of Jeopardy, even at 10 years old.
On every episode of Jeopardy, there's a segment where host Alex Trebek greets the contestants and asks them to tell a little story about their lives. Competing on 75 episodes, Ken's well started to run dry.
I remember one time he just got fed up and he was like, Ken, is there anything you want to ask me? And I had no idea this was coming. You know, I hemmed and hawed for, 5, 10, it seemed like forever, 10 seconds. And I finally said, well, what did you have for breakfast this morning, Alex? And I'll never forget what he said to me. A Diet Pepsi and a Baby Ruth.
What? That is so unexpected.
The breakfast of champions.
When he was a Jeopardy contestant, Ken lived in Utah, one of the only regions in the country that absolutely stumps me in the category of regional foods.
Utah has regional food. Do you know what it is?
No.
Jell-O. Utah is well known for its bizarre Jell-O concoctions, like from a 1958 Better Homes and Gardens magazine. Like, my mom makes a Jell-O that has black cherry Jell-O with cubes of cream cheese, slivered almonds, and like some kind of canned cherry, and then like some Dr. Pepper or something in it.
Mixed in, or she just pours it over the whole thing.
Yeah, it's like, and then lights it on fire as she's plating it.
Ken is the latest guest on my podcast, Your Last Meal. And while Jell-O is not his last meal, it's just too iconic a food to pass up. So its history and cultural impact is heavily featured in the episode. Why is there a connection between Jell-O and Utah and Jell-O and Mormons?
Well, Jell-O seems to be more popular in Utah, Salt Lake City, than any other area.
Lynn Beluccio is executive director of the country's one and only Jell-O gallery in Leroy, New York. She says Jell-O is cheap, so it's easy to feed lots of kids.
You know, I think Mormons, like maybe many American religious groups, sort of lag behind the culture by a few decades, and you can really see it in the food. It's Jell-O salads, it's cream of mushroom-based casseroles.
The year before the Salt Lake City Olympics, there was a group of students who decided they were going to petition the Utah legislature, and they got enough signatures, and so Jell-O became the official state snack of Utah.
If you want to hear my full interview with Ken Jennings and learn the complete history of Jell-O, listen to my podcast, Your Last Meal. You can find it on iTunes, anywhere you get podcasts, or you can text the word Ken to 98973, and we'll text you the episode. That's Ken to 98973.
Ken's been in a number of times when you've gone out of town to fill in for you, and he's actually been a great co-host.
Does he keep up on all current events? Or
yeah,
the trivia?
He's really. We haven't had him in since Candy's been the producer. Maybe since you're.
Oh, I hate him.
Oh, you do?
That's why.
You really do?
Yeah.
Why do you hate him?
I don't hate him. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, have Ken in. He's a fun guy.
We should reach out to
He
him.
really likes you more than he likes me, but that's a different story.
Duff has been in to fill in. The interesting thing was Duff was in here with Chris Novoselic, and they co-hosted together because you and I were both gone. It'd be interesting to have one of those guys in,
I
right?
remember the last time they were here together, Chris was like, nobody wants to hear Nirvana stories. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, love that.
Pretty sure they do.
No.
I'm pretty sure.
He lives in a really recluse place in Oregon. He flies his own plane now. He had a band going in Texas. He said no one wants to listen to it. He ran for office, didn't win, so now he just searches for roadkill every day.
Ron and Don's Top 5.
Nice roadkill.
Number 4.
Justin Timberlake has started to make the rounds. He's going to be the halftime entertainment for the Super Bowl.
55 BPM on a climb, and then you can double time this to a 110 if you want to.
Good tune.
Yeah, it is a good tune.
JT,
for sure.
of course, if you watched the 2004 Super Bowl in Houston, Texas,
Yeah.
you would have thought that he would never be allowed back onto the Super Bowl stage. That, of course, was the Nipplegate incident with Janet Jackson. And he talked about this because he's getting asked about it a lot. He talked about it and said Janet Jackson and himself have sort of buried the hatchet.
To be honest, it's like, it wasn't too much of a conversation. Just one of those things where you go like, yeah, we're not gonna do that again. You know, like, I stumbled through it. You know, to be quite honest, like, I had my wires crossed, and it's just something that you have to look back on and go like, okay, well, you can't change what's happened, but you know, you can move forward and learn from it.
All right, so I'm calling BS on this right straight away. There was no wires crossed. If you think about it, I'm not going to get graphic in this, but Janet Jackson was prepared for that portion of her outfit.
She was wearing jewelry.
She was
Yeah,
wearing
okay.
a certain amount of coverage underneath the exterior of the wardrobe.
Well, I don't even remember. You really remember?
JT made a dance move.
Really did your research.
He
Sure.
reached over. There was tearaway buttons.
Hang on. You remember this? Or you
I
watched
remember this.
Or you watched this again today?
No,
I remember this
I remember this
vividly.
Oh, you
vividly.
do?
They were
Vividly.
dancing.
Oh, okay.
She struck a pose and was sort of looking off to the right. He did a little dance move, came over, and then he grabbed her, which would have been fine. He clearly grabbed onto the part of her outfit and ripped it off, and there was buttons there for it to be pulled off, and then she was wearing something underneath it. So no, there's no wires that got crossed. They were deliberately trying to be shocking. They were deliberately trying to end this thing with a moment that everyone would talk about, and everyone did talk about it, and it really morphed into a sea change when it comes to not only television but radio, what you could say and what you couldn't say. And it was right after that, there were so many complaints from that there was many radio shows.
Yeah, Howard Stern went off the air, Opie and
His penis to me in a dark boiler room in the basement of his home. He told me, if you ever want to see it, all you have to do is ask. He used his power as an adult to manipulate me. Over a 6-year period, he progressed from exposure to masturbating in front of me while playing hide-and-go-seek, rubbing his bare penis on my bare feet, and penetrating my vagina with his fingers. All of which took place with my parents, my siblings, his wife, and his children in the same house. After my parents confronted you, they brought you back to my house to speak with me. Sitting on my living room couch, I listened to you tell me, no one should ever do that, and if they do, you should tell someone. Well, Larry, I'm here, not to tell someone, but to tell everyone.
And everyone's been told. Who's getting told about glamour? Team Glamour. Who's getting told about Cosmopolitan? You are. You are. Who's been talking about the showers? I have. Will you join in this in stopping these mixed messages? Nothing in what I've said has equated a man who thinks he's a woman with rapists. What I've equated is a young girl being allowed to have control over who sees her naked, for God's sake. What I have equated is these magazines are grooming. Not for their own gratification, but for money. And for one of their major backers, Planned Parenthood's money. Will you speak? I hope you will. Come back on the Todd Herman Show on AM 770 KTTH and wrap things up with a rather happy personal note for a change. sometimes your personal notes get a little maudlin, right? Because, I don't know, I tend to think those ways. I tend to think about those moments that are just life-making. A real happy life-making note. We come back on the Todd Herman Show on AM 770 KTTH. On the Greater East Side, it's 94.5 FM. That will check traffic with Right Way Traffic, brought to you by the Online Training Academy.
Still quite slow on I-5 southbound approaching Tacoma, particularly between Highway 18 and I-705. I-405 northbound stop and go in some stretches from I-5 through Renton. Finally gets better before you hit the I-90 interchange. I-405 southbound still quite jammed up through Bellevue. Meanwhile, your biggest delays on I-5 southbound from Northgate, it's bumper to bumper consistently down to I-90. You're listening to AM 770 KTTH.
1 year in.
Number 5. Grumpy cat likes accidents. Grumpy cat likes ugly people. Grumpy cat likes terrorists.
All right, story number 5 takes us to the courthouse where a grumpy cat has just been awarded over $700,000 in a lawsuit. For those of you that don't know or don't have the internet, Grumpy Cat is the permanently frowning cat that rose to a viral sensation about 5 years ago. And the owner of Grumpy Cat, whose real name is not Grumpy Cat.
It's tartar sauce.
Tartar sauce. Licenses out photographs of Grumpy Cat for T-shirts and calendars and all this stuff. So a company wanted to make a coffee featuring Grumpy Cat, which they gave her $150,000 for the Grumpy Cat Grumppuccino coffee, and then they took things too far.
Oh, no.
They also did Grumppuccino T-shirts and other Grumppuccino merchandise.
Yeah.
And the Grumpy Cat team came back and was like, whoa, we didn't license Grumppuccino T-shirts. We just did Grumppuccino coffee drink. So they sued. This thing went back and forth, and now they have just won $710,000, which makes me wish I had a Grumppuccino T-shirt, because those probably skyrocketed.
Well, they just renamed Grumpy Cat Fat Cat.
That may be the worst joke than anything I've done all week, which is saying something.
I guarantee it is. Yes, I guarantee it. And I probably would take the mask.
Was I funnier when I was younger? Or have I always been this unfunny?
Are you feeling unfunny?
The dad jokes have been coming to me.
Oh.
Like that? That almost seemed funny to me.
Oh.
Which makes me think that maybe I'm losing my sense of humor.
Oh. I still got it over this year.
Yeah. Jury's out on that.
All right. Top 5 at 5. Let me give you the code word. It's Oprah. Yeah, Oprah.
I've heard of her.
Said today she doesn't want to be the president. Doesn't have the DNA for it. I think she does. Head to our show page, mynorthwest.com/5. Fill out the entry form. Be entered to win tonight's great prize. And don't forget, you have till 8 p.m. to do so. And our thanks to Heritage Distilling Batch Number 12 Vodka for sponsoring tonight's great show. And check out our podcast, Oprah's Super Soul Conversations. One with Paul Williams. Played some of that for you tonight. Pretty awesome. Ron and Don, let's check those cards, see if we can get you home next, all right? Hang in there, practice your patience, be nice, share your snacks. What'd you say about snacks? We'll check in with Tracy Taylor. She has a whole theory about snacks in the car. Ron and Don, Power Radio. Thanks.
knows if others will try to pull him back. But we'll see. I've always said his instincts are better than the advice that he's getting on DACA.
The Senate Democratic leader shared Senator Flake's concerns that hardliners close to the president could walk him back.
The White House, unfortunately, has proven unreliable and wildly unpredictable.
And Schumer is painting a scary picture if lawmakers miss their deadline. The House Majority Leader said all will have to compromise.
Mike Emanuel at the Capitol. The full details of the plan set to be revealed by the president Monday. More than 20 White House employees have been interviewed by Special Counsel Robert Mueller as part of the Russia investigation. That's according to a document released by President Trump's lawyer, John Dowd. This information released one day after the president announced he would be willing to answer Mueller's questions under oath. Murder charges for a 22-year-old man and the death of a Colorado deputy, and the search is on for 2 others. Fox's Steve Rappaport has this live.
Lisa, Adams County Sheriff Mike McIntosh says he received a letter from a woman that is a testament to Deputy Sheriff Heath Gumb's character.
She was moved so much by the level of service that Deputy Gumb provided to her son that she took the time to reach out and make sure that we knew.
Gumb was fatally shot Wednesday night while responding to an assault in progress. 2 other suspects are wanted in connection with the initial disturbance call, but not the murder. Gumb is the 2nd Colorado Sheriff's deputy killed in the line of duty in less than a month. Lisa?
Thanks, Steve. Fox News, Darren Ballard.
What happened? You used to go hours without visiting the bathroom. Now it seems like you're constantly getting up to pee. Listen, the makers of Super Beta Prostate are introducing a new wonder pill, Super Beta Prostate P3 Advanced, with 3 key ingredients that are great for your prostate. To celebrate, your first 30-day supply is free. Pay shipping and handling. Get P3 Advanced free. Call 1-800-215-9360. 1-800-215-9360. 1-800-215-9360.
For many businesses, hiring is tough. You want access to highly qualified candidates fast, and you don't want to sign a long-term contract or pay upfront fees. That's why you need Indeed.com, delivering 6 times more hires than any other job site, according to independent research. Indeed is offering new users a $50 credit to give their first job post premium visibility as a sponsored job. Redeem this offer at Indeed.com/credit. That's Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Have you noticed a lot more men smiling around town? Universal Men's Clinic has treated thousands of patients. That's thousands of happy men who have a greater zest for life. If you don't have the energy, stamina, or strength like you used to, or having problems in the bedroom, you could be our next happy patient. Call us at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit universalmensclinic.com. A $199 office visit may get you smiling too.
I'm Charles Arakaki, a doctor at the Universal Men's Clinic and a happy patient. I was feeling old and I thought it was my demanding lifestyle. I started feeling loss of energy and stamina. Having treated thousands of patients with low energy and sex drive and seeing them improve, it hit me. My symptoms were similar to my patients. With the modern medicine at Universal Men's Clinic, I'm now enjoying a renewed quality of life.
Call us at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit universalmensclinic.com.
Is this the time of year you stress over your basement flooding again? If you're unable to use your basement or feel that you're risking mold exposure from water intrusion, Robbins & Company has an affordable and permanent solution to your drainage problems. Northwest homeowners have trusted Robbins for over 65 years. Call Robbins & Company at 206-ROBBINS or 206robbins.com.
Since 1952, giving you our happy days. Robbins & Company, ROBBINS.
Network on Wall Street, the major averages closing mixed, but the Dow did post another record high, boosted by 3M and Caterpillar after the companies reported some solid quarterly results. The Dow closing up 141 points, the Nasdaq down 4, and the S&P 500 up 2. And the number of Americans filing for unemployment benefits rebounding from a 45-year low last week, though by less than expected. Claims increasing 17,000 to 233,000. The previous week claims hit the lowest level since January of 1973. And Walmart is slashing 400 to 500 jobs at its headquarters this week in Arkansas, the latest move to streamline its empire under the threat from Amazon. Layoffs will affect the retail giant's marketing, human resources, merchandising, logistics, and financial divisions. Walmart will continue to pay employees for up to 60 days as they look for new jobs.
At Progressive, we think your custom cupcake shop is first class. Yeah, your cupcakes were first class from your first day of cupcake class right up till you graduated. First in your class. And a first class, first in class top brass like yourself deserves Progressive business insurance. With over 30 business and vehicle options, you'll feel like you and your cupcakes are flying. First class. So move your center of mass to progressivecommercial.com real fast. Now you're cooking with gas. Progressive Casualty Insurance and Affiliates.
He's here. Now broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building.
Together, we can forge a new beginning for America.
This is the Lars Larson Show.
What was it you were saying about my voice?
It's loud, it's strong, and it's good, and I appreciate your support. What keeps you awake at night?
Nothing. I keep other people awake at night. No. Honestly provocative talk.
This is Armageddon. This is a very big deal.
Stop listening to the bombastic loudmouths on the radio. To hell with them.
With Lars Larson.
Welcome back to the Lars Larson Show. It is a pleasure to be with you, although there is a deal that has been cut. Apparently, President Donald Trump has announced that he is ready to offer a deal to the Democrats to try to get them to close the deal on the so-called DACA illegal aliens, on the border wall, on the end of chain migration, on the end of the visa lottery, and all the rest of that, and put it together as one big package. Here's the way it comes down. Donald Trump has proposed a path to citizenship, not legal residency, citizenship, for 1.8 million undocumented or illegal aliens. Now, hey, look at that. Get over here, will you please? I'm here at SHOT Show in Las Vegas. We're brought to you by Grove Tech. And you know, we actually ran into people in the elevator last night who were mentioning that you were somewhere around here, one of the Gold Rush boys.
Hey, man. Lars, I just see you sitting here, and you're just a man among boys, I'm telling you. This is awesome.
You know what? It is great to see you again.
Yeah, man, it's good to see you.
How's the show been going?
You know what? The show's kind of crazy. We're starting to get gold again, but it was, you know, like usual, we had some troubles. You know, a lot of drama.
Troubles and
Oh, yeah,
no.
me in trouble? I mean,
jeez.
Oh, man, it's crazy. But, dude, what's going on out there with all this FBI stuff in the world? I mean, is this crazy?
Well, here's what's worse. It's worse than crazy. I've always admired the FBI, but lately they have been screwing up left and right. Now, it could be that out of a giant agency, there are a bunch of bad boys and girls.
Now, were these